Hello, let's get on into it. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn LaVern. Yes. This is one street over. What's going on one street over from where you live? And we're living right here in Robertson County. We're living a little cold. I did not get up and walk this morning. It was the feel-like temperature was about 17, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. I don't know. It was 27 when my husband and I looked at each other and said, we're not walking this morning. Because we like to get up and walk while it's still dark. And I love it.
I measured 28 as a low.
Well, we're down in the holler.
Yeah.
A little cooler down there in the valley.
I forgive you for 1 degree.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, it was just one of those days.
I forgot to set my thermostat last night. It was down to 63 when I got up this morning.
I'm telling you. It's cold out there this morning. And so just be aware. Warm the cars up, all the things. It's going to take you a little bit longer to get going. And I tell you, you just ever you and I both are talking about just being spread too thin. I don't know what to do to fix it. I am scattered so many different places.
Quit.
And
That's what you do. Quit doing something.
Well,
I'm terrible. I got too much. I can't do what I want to do. I'm just interested in so many things.
That's me.
That I want to read about it, take part in it or something. I just can't do it all.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother.
Not very smart because I like to read about it, but I'm interested in it. But
You're
I wish
absolutely brilliant.
I love, as I said to your students the other day, I love being not the smartest person in the world because I can learn.
Well,
Smartest person in the class. I mean, I like being around smart people because I can learn things from them.
I do too. And
I appreciate them.
Well, Bill came and spoke to my classes, and we had so much fun. We got to do a fox hunt. We went and looked for radio signals, and that was so much fun. And you'll have to come, and we're going to build microphones coming up. And it's going to have to be after Thanksgiving. There's no way we're going to get to it before now on Thanksgiving because I've got to get all the materials together and stuff. Plus, too, the kids have to bring in a soup can, and none of them have done that. I've been telling them for 2 weeks, bring in your soup can. I'm trying to collect soup cans. But if you're somebody that just wants to help me collect soup cans, here's the parameters. I need soup cans with no labels, the top taken off, but the bottom needs to be intact and they need to be clean, of course. And but I told the kids they all have to, and they'll get to keep these microphones. And I saw this project. I was in Huntsville with my son and his bride. And we were in this little flea market kind of thing. And they had this entire shop with these tin can microphones that they had made. And they were fascinating. And the sound is just cool. It's got kind of a vintage radio sound.
Let me tell you a little history tidbit.
But they're easy to make. Go ahead.
Back in the middle 1800s, we had a man come to live in Springfield. And he taught at school, People Tucker, or whatever it was back then. And he invented the carbon microphone when he was here.
No.
He didn't stay here long, but he went on and moved up to Kentucky, and he was also the father. They call him the father of the cell phones.
What's his name?
I can't remember.
Get his name for me and send it to me because I'll put that in the stuff for the
Okay,
kiddos.
yeah, I'll do that. I wrote.
That's awesome.
There was a.
That's cool.
I wrote an article in the paper back, 15 years ago about the man. He had a love affair with a girl here, and his parents. Her parents wouldn't let them continue in their love affair because they thought he had no money, and he didn't. He was in a hotel on the south side of the square, upstairs, second floor, inventing the printing teletype and carbon microphone and several other things he did. Very interesting guy. I've got his... one of his great-grandsons, I think, he read my article somehow. He got it online, and he came to visit me. And he was writing a book then on him, and he quoted me in some of the pages of the book about his times here.
See that article.
And
that so interesting for the kiddos here.
He gave me one and signed it, and I put one in the library.
Oh, fun! I need to see that. And
I'll get it.
That would be interesting. And Paul's asking me if the term "talking to the can," if that's where it came from. Could be. I know they also called the headphones cans.
Right.
Whenever I was, very early radio, I actually had some curriculum. Somebody got me for audio video to share with me, and they were talking about lingo, calling these cans, and I was like, well, we hadn't done that in a long time, but it was quite dated. But anyway, That we did call these cans back years ago and talking into the can. I don't know. That's not one I have actually heard that much.
About the word
Canning.
cans.
Well,
I
we
hadn't.
would talk about. I'll tell you this. I talk it to the kids about we got to get the news in the can. And that comes from the term whenever they would do a film project. If they were going to do a commercial or anything, everything was on film, and putting it in the can means it was ready to distribute. And so, because you had film cans. And so
Yeah.
that's where that
Yeah.
comes from.
Okay.
And I've heard that my
that makes
entire
sense.
career. We got to get that in the can.
Yep.
And I was always kind of like, where did that come from? And so that's one term I still will hear come out of my mouth, and I'll have to explain to the kids, here's where that comes from. But, getting it in the can.
I often think we read ancient writings and they'll have figures of speech like
Yeah.
that in there, and we don't know what they're talking about.
I
And I'm
like
thinking,
scripture.
well, what about 1,000 years from today? And they read some
Yeah.
of our stuff and say, what are they talking about? Put it in the can,
Mhm.
and they'll have to
Yeah.
figure that one out.
Well, it's like I talk about my friends, my immigrant friends, the Egyptians that I've worked with when I used to teach English second language. And we did a class on idioms like Elvis has left the building, have your cake and eat it too,
Yeah.
break a leg.
Yeah.
I had an Egyptian woman, she goes, people tell me break my leg and eat cake. I don't understand. That's how she said it too. And she was funny. But
That's good.
exactly how
That's
she said.
good.
She said, yeah, break my leg and eat
Yeah.
cake. And I
Well-
just loved her. She was a riot.
I collect them out of the Bible because there's a
Yeah.
lot of in there,
Yeah.
and they take it. People take it literal, and when it's not, it's just a figure of speech, and
Yeah.
it gets them in all kinds of trouble, beliefs, and things.
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it though? Yeah, Bill and I like to talk about the scriptural stuff, and we seem to be on the same page with. I don't think you and I've ever crossed ways that we're like, oh, I don't agree with that. We've been pretty much dead
Well,
on.
we have, but I just don't say anything.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, very good.
Right.
Okay, brother. But I like people to. So that's one thing I keep saying. Is if I'm wrong, correct me. And
Right.
help me to understand.
Well,
I think
I want to be corrected with the scriptures. I don't want to say we don't believe that. Our church says this.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the
Exactly.
scriptures.
Exactly.
And
So
some proof behind it.
we're not going to go down those rabbit holes. Y'all know me. I can go down that
Yeah,
rabbit hole
yeah,
very
yeah.
quickly.
That's
Bill is
right.
here. This is History Monday. And tomorrow's Veterans Day. We're having a special Veterans Day program at Greenbrier. And the cat's out of the bag, Coach Wood. So I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. This was a big secret, but he sent us out this surprise. Coming to our Veterans Day forum today is Mr. Jimmy Wren, W-R-E-N. He is a World War II veteran, will be 102 in December.
Wow.
And he is going to be at our Veterans Day program today. And so I went ahead and put that on the sign. I hope that was okay. But he was telling us it was a big secret, but then he told us yesterday. So I'm like, well, I'm going to tell it then.
Yeah.
And so we've got a 101-year-old, almost 102-year-old World War II veterans going to be visiting with the kiddos today. And I think that is absolutely special. And so anyway, when Paul's clarifying, he saw on Oh Brother Where Art Thou, they were saying talking to the can in a microphone. That's where that, okay. All right, brother. I think
hadn't heard that one.
I hadn't either. But I'll have to go. That's a movie. Have you ever watched Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
What is it?
Oh Brother Where Art Oh Brother
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
Art Thou?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good
Yeah,
movie.
I like that.
I love that movie. I got to go watch that. It's a classic. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Sometimes I don't watch a lot of movies, but we watched one last night. And I said, well, everybody's talking about it. Let's watch it. I thought,
What
about
was it?
Handmaidens.
Handmaid's Tale or something? Yeah.
Yeah, and
I've
I
never
thought,
seen it. Yeah.
I thought, I don't want to watch this. This is, ooh.
I'll turn
Yeah, I
it
think an
off.
Academy Award and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Good night. I don't care about. I got plenty of other things I
There's
can
just
watch.
too many vulgar movies out there, and I'm telling you, I'll turn them off.
This is pretty raunch.
Well, there's a thing called VidAngel you can filter television through now.
I don't watch much television. I don't care.
Well, or
just-
movies even. You
Yeah,
can filter
yeah.
movies and things through it. And so I will filter things through that and see stuff that maybe you'd be surprised I'd watch, but I've been able to put it through a filter and go ahead and watch it.
Yeah.
But
Let me mention something. You mentioned Greenbrier. I met a man several years ago. It was back around 2010 or something like that. He lived in Greenbrier, but he was a Jeep driver for General Patton.
Ooh,
and he was very interesting. He told me a lot of neat stuff,
bet.
Um,
I doubt he's still around.
no, he moved down to Mississippi, I think, and he died down there. I
Mhm.
talked to him after he moved down there, but
Wow.
he was telling me about Patton's habits and everything. It was very interesting. Of course, most generals stay in the back in wars, and Patton was out front.
Right.
He didn't think he could be killed, and they tried, and they
Yeah, they
shot all
did.
around him and never hit him. He died in a Jeep accident, actually, right after the war. But
I didn't
anyway,
realize that.
William, oh, what am I trying? What is his name? I had it on my mind a while ago. um, anyway, I'll think of it in a minute. It'll come to me like everything else does.
Well,
But anyway, he drove a Jeep, and Patton, he wrote down everything Patton did and said, and Patton gave him a bronze medal.
wow.
Um, I got a picture of him, and Patton pinned it on him.
That's
Anyway,
really
that's just
cool.
a shot I pulled out of the air when you
That's
said
really
that.
cool. Well, we're talking to Bill Jones. This is History Monday, second Monday of the month. We try to just be very intentional because there's so much history. And I had said that, I think I told this last week on the air, but something you said to the kiddos that I did not realize, something in your history,
Well,
that you're the first one to sell computers
yeah.
in Springfield
I tell you
at
what,
your Radio Shack.
I
I didn't
gave
know that.
Greenbrier High School a computer to get them into it. William West was
That's
his
really
name.
cool.
And there were two teachers down there,
Uh-huh.
and they learned about programming computers, and they started a class, the computer class down
Okay.
there. And I gave them a Model 3, Radio Shack Model 3. And there was a boy down there that was, I don't want to mention names, but he was a real smart guy, but the family didn't have a lot of money. So I helped him getting a computer, and he's doing wonderful now.
That's
And
awesome.
of course, he's around 60, I guess, now.
Mhm.
But
That's cool.
anyway, computers. I just accidentally got into it, I suppose, when I Radio Shack franchise. But I got into HCA, and I was selling HCA computers every week, and that made me money, and it made Radio Shack money because I was selling more computers than anybody in Tennessee at the while because
That's really cool.
of them. So they sent me for a week vacation, all expenses paid to Hawaii. So, and that's
That's
expensive.
fun. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I got to know a lot of other people just beginning in computers too, and
Mm-hmm.
it was very interesting what we did. I was computer prices and things changed so quickly that what I would do, I'd have one to show and one to go, and I wouldn't buy 10 of them, because they'll change before I can sell them all.
I like that. One
So
to
then
show and one to go.
I talked to him about getting a license to repair Radio Shack computers,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to pull a lot, I had to send a lot of information. So they finally gave it to me, and they sent me all these technical books, and that's great. But when I opened the computer, I'd see what needs to be done. The next computer would be different. It'd be wired different.
Oh, yeah.
Had little wires running across.
Yeah.
I thought, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I just recently sold all those manuals just last week on eBay, and it was a very interesting trip for me.
I bet.
Because now I don't know anything, I just know how to turn them on, but it's so different now than it used to be. But
We keep talking about sitting down. You've got a little Apple that I know we can get set up to where you can do some PowerPoints and just find it.
yeah,
It's one of those things. I've got too many irons
I
in the
need-
fire, and I
need
can't
to
find a
learn
free
that.
minute. Maybe after Thanksgiving we can.
I wanted
sit
somebody
down.
else to show me instead of having
Yeah.
to work in it.
I don't think it's going to be too difficult, but in Apple computers, that's if you put me on a regular PC. This is a regular PC right here, and I have to just kind of hunt because mine. I've always worked on Apple.
Yeah,
Except our very first computer. We had one of those early computers for our roofing company, and DOS and all that, and. But it's quite interesting when you really start looking at the history of technology and things. You were at my classroom, and I've got like a display of technology down through the history, and the kids just look at it and they're just like, because they've grown up with these, and it's so fascinating. They don't know a life before screens and all of that.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating, and I feel old, Bill. Let's talk history. Okay, history. The Veterans Day is tomorrow. Thank you, veterans, for serving. We're going to honor them today. If you missed it, we've got a World War II almost 102-year-old veteran, Mr. Jimmy Wren, that's going to be with us today at Greenbrier. Very excited about that. And there's going to be a lot of other veterans. My kiddo's going to pop in. And just all kinds of veterans. I mean, all of them from the Veteran Service Office will be over there. And
well, there's two kinds of days. There's Veteran Day and Memorial Day.
uh-huh.
Mr. Jimmy wouldn't be honored in Memorial Day because Veterans Day honors all of them, living or dead. But Memorial Day is for those that's either died from injuries or passed away in the war activities.
Right, exactly. And that's a clarification that a lot of people don't understand. And we have a display we put up at church that is from our Gold Star families that lost their loved ones. And Gold Star families, if you have somebody that died in combat, and the most famous one probably would be Don Hagen's brother. And he is, he died in Vietnam.
I think it's John Hagen's wife's brother.
That's what did I say?
You said John Hagen's brother.
Yeah, it's Donna's brother. I'm a lunatic.
John Hagen's wife's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't come out right. It just didn't come out right.
Yeah. There were a few people from here, Robinson County, that died in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I knew 3 of them, I think, but that was, it was a big argument back then of whether for or against that war, and most people I knew didn't want to go, and they did a lot of things to keep from being enlisted. But I just look back now, I think of it as a useless war. We should never have had that. Should never got involved in it. It's my opinion. I just thought all these people were killed for nothing, as far as I can tell.
That is Donna's brother, Terry Smith, Corporal Terry Smith.
Yeah.
And I just, I got this. Well, see, we lost Kenneth Pease, our hired hand in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But again, that's a Memorial Day thing. This is Veterans Day, and it's everybody. And of course, one of the big things is the veterans try to find all the food deals tomorrow. And they will go from restaurant to restaurant.
Yeah.
My friend Matt Driscoll.
I hate to do that.
But my friend Matt
I don't want to
Driscoll
take advantage of it.
Oh, he goes. I'm going. I'm eating. So you should. You served. You were in the Air Force Weather Wing, right?
Weather Service, and Air Force Weather Service.
Yeah, he was telling the kiddos about flying into a hurricane. I can't imagine. You just, woof, man.
Well,
and we need to mention too. The life flight that we lost last week, and I'm not sure exactly who perished on that, but we have a very dear friend, Jessica Van Meter. She's a long time. She's a doctor. She has her doctorate in nursing from Vanderbilt. She's brilliant and has been a life flight nurse forever. And of course, as soon as we heard, we just panicked. And Jessica is okay, but they did lose a dear colleague and friend.
Locally, Jimmy Limley, who's worked for the city gas department, has a daughter that was a life flight nurse. I don't think she is anymore, but I
it's
think
just
that's sort of a
horrible, tragic accident last week.
I haven't heard a reason for it.
I would imagine mechanical or something, but it's just so unusual for that to happen.
Helicopter is one of those things that when the blades stop turning, you fall like a rock. An airplane, you got a little glide.
Yeah, exactly.
Fixed wing airplane.
Absolutely. They say one was killed, 2 critically injured in the life flight crash in Wilson County.
Yeah, that's all I've seen.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything else, but anyway, just a horrible tragedy, and just absolutely praying for the entire crew. I just have such a respect for the life flight crews, and mainly because I've known Jessica for so long, and we just absolutely want to give all of our prayers for them as well. But I was trying to see if they've released the name of who passed.
I've looked and I don't find it. Well, anyway,
let's
back
go on.
to Veterans Day. It used to be called Armistice Day, and Armistice Day title came from World War One, the end of World War One.
Right.
And the armistice name came from a Latin term, which I can't hardly pronounce, called armistidium. And then a little bit of Latin verb, and then meaning to make stand. halt or bring to a standstill. And arma means implements of war or weapons. So armistice is a weapon standstill, and there's a little difference between armistice and peace. Um, uh, Armistice falls within a thought of military and technical terms, where peace is like individuals do, but armistice is looked over by another organization of some type to make sure it goes like they agreed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was called Armistice Day since World War One was over. And I have a old newspaper article here that said flag raising, and this is in Springfield, flag raising and patriotic parade May 24th, 1917, and that was it went from the old depot from the railroad down to the city square of the county office of the courthouse, and that's where the parades went. My wife asked me yesterday, she says, "Where did y'all's parade start and go?" I said, "Well, when I was a kid, they started the railroad track and went down North Main, and that was it."
Oh, really? So it's short.
Then they started going down Fifth Avenue. Then they started going down Memorial Boulevard, down to the fairgrounds, and got larger and larger. But we have always, and somebody asked me all day, did we have armistice parades or day after World War I? Yeah. There's this newspaper article saying they had flag raising and a parade.
Oh, that's cool.
And
this is 1917, y'all.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people, they really, really rejoiced out in public over the ending of that war. People, of course, very few people had telephones then, but they would call people. They had it in the paper. Clarksville had a big parade down there. Springfield had their own little parade here, and Clarksville really did it up royally. They had a lot of people there and a lot.
With the base down there. When did Fort Campbell?
I don't think it was a base down there then.
Really?
I'll have to look that up sometime, but I don't think.
Yeah.
They started right before World War II, I think, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, keep going. We're talking about the history of Veterans Day and all the celebrations and the honor things that we do to honor our veterans and our military.
Well, the most important thing to me is remember where that name came from. It changed to Veterans Day in 38, I think they started calling it that. But then what's interesting to me, in 1953, President Truman declared Veterans Day, and it was an official holiday. But what happened also he did is he changed the Pledge of Allegiance to have under God in it. And people miss that a lot, I think, because they're thinking of what he did in 1953, changing the law and everything. But I remember as a child in the old Main Street school, we would stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I can remember when they added under God. Wow. I don't know why I remember that, but I thought, that's strange.
Yeah.
But I remember that happening. And, of course, back then, we practiced duck and cover. You know what that was? You get under your desk, practicing somebody.
We never did that because, like I said, I was in school in the 60s and 70s.
Not likely it would save you anyway if it dropped an atomic bomb or something. But it was always a fear in the background of Russia or somebody coming over and doing that. But we got over that after a long time. But I remember that prayer because I thought, well, I've got to remember to put that in there. And it was one or two other words changed, but that's interesting that and the prayer changed in 1953 by President Eisenhower. Did I say Truman a while ago? I meant to say Eisenhower.
I think you did say Truman, but
Eisenhower did it. So that's something significant for us because people, when this was embarrassing to me the other day. I was in the Kiwanis Club, and they called on me for prayer, opening prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance. So I did the prayer, and then when we all faced the flag, I couldn't remember what it was. I was standing there, everybody's waiting. I said, I'm sorry, I can't remember the Pledge of Allegiance. And they all laughed. They thought I was kidding. I said, no, seriously, guys, I don't remember how it starts. So somebody else started it, and I thought, oh, man, this is embarrassing.
Well, it's just
my age is showing here,
Well, it happens. It happens, and bless your heart, but we all do it, Bill. I'm telling you, we all do it. I was walking through the house this morning 5 or 6 times. I couldn't remember where I was going, what I was doing. So
yeah, I talked to others
So,
well, you're way younger than I am, but you
well,
shouldn't be
they
doing
always say that you're in trouble when you don't realize you're forgetting stuff. But if you know
that.
you're
That's
forgetting
what
stuff,
I had to read up on it because I wanted
yeah,
to assure myself
that's
I'm.
just it. When you realize you're forgetting stuff, that's just part of it. But when you don't realize you're forgetting stuff and people are telling you are, then
I
you
had
might have something going
I
on.
have a first cousin that just went into. He has dementia, and
Oh,
he just
bless.
went into
Yeah.
the hospital, and that's too close.
Well, I hear you, brother, but we just appreciate all this stuff that you share. What else? I tell you what, let me pause and do my
Okay.
break for Barry and Rebecca. We just have one sponsor today. If you would like to be one of our sponsors, Lacey View is going to help me start building sponsors for the program because we got to get a few more sponsors in here. Oh, and yes, Lee Marie, I will not forget. We'll mention this a couple of times because I'm wondering, are you going to the Thanksgiving potluck at Tennessee Firearms Association tonight?
No, I'm not going.
Not going tonight? Well, it's going to be good because it's a Thanksgiving potluck. And the Robco chapter of the Tennessee Firearms Association wants to invite you to come out to that tonight. And it'll be Thanksgiving fair. They'll get going. Do you remember what time they eat? I forget. Maybe I think she sent it.
Starts at 6.
Yeah, tonight at 6 p.m.
Well, you bring your food at 6. They start the program at 6:30 usually.
About 6:30, and it's free admission. It's tonight. It's going to be back up at the American Legion. They've been doing some renovation up there. They've got that mural that they're unveiling tomorrow. That's just fabulous. So
If you don't have any food, come on anyway.
yeah, that's just it.
We
There's
always have
plenty.
more than we need.
There's always plenty, but just anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight for the Thanksgiving fair, and I want you to invite you to come out for the Tennessee Firearms Association Thanksgiving potluck tonight, starting at 6 at the American Legion. But we want to invite you to meet Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Anything that you have going in real estate, buying or selling. If you just need a market analysis to see if maybe you want to do some, if you want to sell your property, you can do that. Maybe you just don't even really know how much home you qualify for. Things are pretty pricey around here, I know. Well, you can give Rebecca a call at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and you can talk to her about exactly what your needs are. If you're older, like Bill and myself, she's one of the first in the area to be a senior real estate specialist, and that means that she has been specifically trained to make sure everything you need is taken care of to get you exactly where you need to be at this stage of life. Now, Barry will take, if you'll, Barry and Rebecca, if you'll give them your email, they'll send you their latest listings. They have got one that let's see here if I can put up. They had one, let's see if we can get the newest one that they put up today. They put up new listings all the time. This was actually one that they put up last week that we were looking at. It was on Friday. This is what I was telling you about. It's really a great starter house. $285,000 up here on 732 Shelby Lynn Drive in Springfield. 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,200 square feet. A lot of people have a hard time finding these homes that are priced under 3. So you might want to take a look at that one if it's still available. But you can get on their call list. You can get on their email list just by reaching out to Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. You can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buyBUYRobertsCounty.com. He will bring his marketing expertise to the table. She's got all of those years of experience. They are a new branch in the Exit Tree, Exit Prime Realty. He is the broker here in town. She has the agency office up in White House. Together, they bring you that new branch in the Exit Tree, and they would love to work with you. Exit Prime Realty, Barry and Rebecca Richards, sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buyBUYRobertsCounty.com. Let them know U-Turn sent you. All right, Bill. It's all you now.
Well, I've got some other little tidbits of stuff and about the pledge. Now, that relates to Veterans Day, but the pledge came out in 1892, the Pledge of Allegiance. They added to the flag later.
Okay.
The Pledge of Allegiance. It was to the flag then. They left out the United States, I think. But what was interesting is the way the kids, when they stood up to do the pledge, they were told to put their right hand out, palm down toward the flag.
Really?
Now, who do you see? Who do you know has done that?
No.
Who did that in World War II? Hitler.
Yeah.
So when they saw Hitler and Germany people doing that, they changed it and told them to put their right hand over their heart, not out. Isn't that interesting?
That's
to me,
quite interesting. He probably adopted that from us.
Well, could have. I don't know. But that's a fact.
I didn't know that.
and it so resembled a Nazi salute that
Yeah.
World War II people said, we're not doing
not
anything
doing
like
that.
that.
Interesting. Interesting. Huh. So if you see old pictures with kids
The old pictures, yeah.
doing the
I've seen pictures of that.
well, a lot of people will pray that way. You know, they'll call you, you'll be in a praise and worship in your congregation with your congregation, and they'll say, you know, you're praying for this person, stretch your hand out or stretch it, you know, raising hands to pray and things like that. So I can kind of see where that came from. That's interesting. Okay.
Also, I got some statistics here uh, of veterans that died in the wars in our county. And in the Civil War, uh, both sides, we had 1,625 people die in both sides. And I had a cousin long back, way back. And the family, one boy went north and one went south.
Oh, wow.
And they fought against each other. And I think that's got to be a
wouldn't that be awful?
bad deal. But they were Hockersmiths, as they're in my family line. But anyway, um, then in World War I, there were 39 that died. 885 people from Robeson County served, and 39 died. World War II, it was a biggie. 3,326 served. 3,326. 64 died. Korean War, 1,136 people served. And that was in the early 50s, and 12 died. I know one I knew that died in that war. Vietnam, 948 served from Robeson County, and 14 died. And in total of all the wars, 7,929 people served, 457 died of all of them. So clearly the worst one was the Civil War, because there 39 people died, and the percentage is higher from the Civil War than any of the wars we had. I think in times coming, war will be more when drones and missiles and things like that. It won't be as much ground troops as we've had. So it's going to change and be different. And one thing I noticed too, especially in Vietnam, and it happened in World War II, is the trauma that people brought back from the war. I can remember people in town doing some strange things, I thought at the time, but they were just traumatized by that war and couldn't get over it. People they would wake up at night and run down the road, and they would do. One guy I know we had walking around town, they call him Walking George or something like that, and they call him shell shocked. But
PTSD.
Yeah, and Vietnam, it's unbelievable what those people went through in battles, because it would scare you literally to death. And I know in World War II, there was a Joe Pepper here. People remember he played tennis and all. His hair turned white overnight in World War II because it scared him so bad. But people now, they have a lot of help, which used to they didn't. So people came back drinking heavily, smoking heavily, divorcing wives, can't keep jobs. And back in World War II, they recommended that the veterans don't work for 5 or 6 months to get accustomed to being back. That didn't happen because they had to go to work, but they had a lot of things, the GI Bill and things that they could use, but that wasn't helping them mentally. Now today, they have a lot of mental help, and that's good. That's really good. And still, we have, from the Iraq War and all that the most recent ones, people come back, they don't get killed, they get maimed more because they were able in modern times to save them, which they may be running around missing a limb or something, but they're still alive. But there's a lot of those people that are injured. I have a friend, he got part of his calf, his leg shot off, and his ear shot off, and in Vietnam. And of course, back then he served 3 terms because they kept talking him into it.
Wow.
And they would, you get that mental mindset, military mindset of, hoorah, let's do it again, and they go back in. And that probably, I know this man I'm talking to, he will not do it again, knowing what happened to him. But there's a lot of mental pressure coming from people who are coming out of conflicts like that. And I know I built a model airplane field at the park years ago. And not only me, but several of us, grown people. And one man that was real instrumental in helping with that had a son. He was 10 years old. And uh, the father had a heart attack and died. His name is Wayne Deneau. But anyway, his son was a really talented model airplane flyer. He was very agile and he was good. I got him to show me, some things. And he got up to his teenager years. His mother and daddy died. And he said, well, what I should do? I said, you need to go in the military with what your skills you have and get into the drones because it was just coming. Drones were just started talking about. And he did. He's done really well. But I think kids like in your class, the more um, education they can get on things like I did and other people ought to come in and do that are not in the regular class curriculum, that gives them more knowledge to make better decisions on what they should do when they get out of college, get out of school or college. Because if you have more experience in things, well, I'm a radio announcer and I don't want to do that. I mean, she's a radio announcer, I don't want to do that. But if you don't have the experience, you don't know what to avoid or what to go toward.
Well, that's one thing with, you're talking about the CTE programs. People ask me about directing kids into the audio video field. I try to talk some of them out of it. It's like I want them to know the practicality of it, and it's a very difficult industry. Yeah. It's just like being an actor or anything like that. If you do the tech side of it only, then there's it's much more lucrative. But then you're still an independent contractor for the most part. Yeah. I mean, you don't go to work for studios very often and make be a cameraman, and you just working for one company or whatever. And we're getting more and more of those jobs around here, but you got to be willing to hit the road. And so I love that you recognize that. But it touches everything that we do, so everybody needs to know how to do it. So It's just one of those things. But we're talking with Bill Jones. We're talking about the history of Veterans Day, our military, some of the things that went in to get us where we are now. Why do we celebrate Veterans Day? And here, let me just kind of mention this. The reason why we're not off in Robertson County on Veterans Day is what I've always had it explained to me is because if you give the kids the day off, they're just home and they don't really think about it. If they're in school, it gives the schools an opportunity to draw attention to the fact this isn't free. And I think that's a great idea. I had a friend of mine, my friend Ginger, wanted me to go shopping tomorrow, and I said, well, I'm working. So I can't.
Well, Veterans Day, to me, I look at it, I mean, it's a big deal to me.
Yeah, me
and
too.
It gives us freedom to have the pledge, to say that, to stand up and have the pledge, have it on our coins, in our prayers. We have the freedom to do that. I know people complain, we can't pray in school.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
You can't.
You're just making a big deal out of it, but you can pray in school. And this public thing, if you open one can, you're forced to open another can of worms. So some things you open, it will allow other things to open that you wouldn't want. But since you did one thing, you have to do the other. That's why I see that public prayer in school. There's some problems that would happen if you allowed that. I won't go any further than that.
Well, no, I know what you mean. And I mean, It's like if students ask me about something, I can address it. I can wear my crosses and have my scriptures and things like that. I'm just not going to get up and preach at my kids, but they know who I am. I mean, I try to display that in my actions, but you're talking about prayer. We had a foreign exchange student that was Muslim that would go in to different rooms and that were empty and do her prayer time. And so kids can ask for that. I mean, Christian kids can bring.
You get the same result.
Absolutely. And if they want prayer time, they can have prayer time. I mean, that's something that they can absolutely request because they honored it for her and they'll honor it for somebody else. But as teachers, I pray over my kids. I don't do it, I don't sit them and say, okay, kids, we're going to say a prayer. I can't do that. But, I think they know I'm praying for them and I tell them I love them. And
I got embarrassed one time. They had this prayer in school and somebody said, we're going to pray for Bill Jones. I said, oh, Lord, don't do this in public. I'd rather keep that private, but sometimes.
Pray for me, babe. I'm praying. I'll
Yeah,
take all the prayers I can get. Come on.
I didn't expect it. You know,
Yeah, I understand. You're a very humble person, and I get that.
I don't
So,
want anybody talking about me. I just,
uh,
I get involved in a lot of things, but I don't really want uh, to be known for that.
well, but it's fun. I mean, you've got some really fun history that you bring to the table, so it's really exciting. What else have you got for us?
Well, some of the, I did a program at the on Veterans Day a few years ago. Well, I think it was 2017. Dr. Kumar and I went down to Pleasant Hill Church, and they had some veterans there. On Veterans Day, we spoke, and I had some stories I told. And there's lots of stories around. You just don't hear of them,
Hmm.
you know. But way back uh, in the Civil War, the encampment was where our county office building is now. They took over a big house that was up there on the hill, and that's where all the troops were gathered around. But across the street in a Kirk house, which is up on top of the hill to the left there, when you get to the top of Fifth Avenue Hill going east, you know, there's a White House on the left, and that was called the Kirk House. And the women were making Confederate flags in the Kirk House, and the soldiers across the street from them didn't know it. I
Oh
thought, here they are doing it
no.
right in there. But that's one of the stories. Um, there was a guy named Jeffrey Covington out of over there near Cross Plains and all. Uh, he was on a ship called America. Now, sometime we'll talk about where the word America came from, and it's very interesting. We're no use getting that now. But anyway, the ship was bombed, and he lived. Um, there was a guy in here, James David Bass. He had a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star. Philippine, Philippines, when a Japanese kamikaze plane crashed on his ship. So we have, you know, you see these stories on TV. We have people that saw this.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, the
uh,
gentleman that's coming out to the presentation we have in Greenbrier was it Iwo Jima. So,
yeah, yeah,
and it was so funny that in the little archive that his daughter wrote said something about he saw the original flag, not the one for the
yeah.
propaganda or something. And I didn't really understand that line, but he was is how do you say Iwo Jima? Am I
Yeah,
saying it
yeah.
right? Okay.
Where they raised the flag, we've got
Right,
a
right.
picture
You've
of it.
got that icon. I've got one of those. I've got like a metal sign with that on it. But he was there. He was there. So I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
he's local. He's a local guy.
Well, I
That's
know
pretty cool.
in my dad's case, he joined and he wanted to be in the Air Force.
Hmm.
He wanted to fly. His sight wasn't good, so he tried to memorize the eye chart, and they switched eye charts, and he failed that. So he went back and they put him in communications, radio, sort of like I do, and they shipped him off to England to Camp Lucky Strike. That's an unusual name, but it was there. But anyway, he was in the war so long, they carried a little trailer behind them when they travel that had everybody's records in it. Well, it burned up one night, and they didn't have any records on them. So they just said, "Well, we don't know when you're supposed to get out or what to do. You stay in." So he was in quite a while.
Oh my.
So when they finished in Germany, they shipped him to Japan, and he got there right after the bomb hit, you know, and he brought home pictures of that whole devastation. The whole city just flat, you know. And then he, when he was out, he stayed in a good while because they didn't have his records. I don't know how that could be, but anyway, he got out in Washington State and gave him a bus ticket home. But people, you know, they sort of have it easy now when those people back then didn't. Polly Goodman, Bill Goodman's mother, she was the oldest female World War II vet in the county at one time. She was in the Marines.
Really?
Polly Goodman. Did you ever remember her or know
No.
her? She was a character. She said what she was on her mind. So she just asked you things outright. Nobody else would.
Oh,
But
funny.
she was down, you know, Bill Goodman, all his family from the Cedar Hill area. And his father was a dentist in the old Bell building.
Hmm.
But I thought it was interesting that she was a Marine woman in World War II.
I didn't know they had female
I didn't either.
Marines back
I
then.
didn't either.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then one man I know, he lost his best friend on a ship. He was killed on the ship in the harbor in Hawaii. Uh, when he was talking to him. There's two of them talking, one killed and one's alive. It's
Oh,
just so
yeah.
eerie, it's amazing. Uh, I had a friend in college. He was a real good football player. He was the same age as me. We both started at the same time. And he was a very different person. I mean, he'd take command. I mean, he didn't take no for an answer. He didn't wait around to somebody to tell him to do something. He just went and did it. And he was from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they were drafting people left and right and my age getting out of college. So he went in and was an officer. And of course, I can picture him. His name is Dale Reich. I can picture him now just charging ahead. Well, he did, and they killed him. I thought, all that education, the football, he was a good football player, all that for nothing. And I turned against that war when that happened. And had another guy that was ahead of me one year, he got killed just getting off the airplane when they sent him over there. I thought, what is this about?
Waste of life.
And then I didn't say much because people argue with you on that and get all upset and everything. And I had my great grandfather. All people in my family were in wars. I had an uncle John. He was an engineer, and he would build bridges or repair bridges. And one time, and he came back different. He wasn't the same person, but he came back. And then I saw a movie one time about the Bridge of Tamagan, I think was the name of it. He was having to hold or destroy or something. And he was ordered to send his crew of engineers out on the bridge to do something to it. And he told the colonel that ordered him, he said, they will not make it. They will be killed. He said, you do it anyway. And it affected him. He never was the same after that. And he brought back home movies of it.
Wow.
And everything, and he wouldn't even watch them. And his daughter had them, and then they got destroyed accidentally. But there's people affected and coming home with all kinds of problems, and you just got to respect that. Whether you liked or disliked the war or what was going on, you've got to realize these people gave a lot. Even if they're still alive, they gave a lot, mentally and everything. It's just I don't know why people want to get into wars other than they think they can do it with airplanes and bombs and missiles and drones and stuff. But I guess in wars, people just fight so much they get tired of dying, getting tired of people being killed, just like Russia and Ukraine now. It's just, thousands and thousands being killed. And then someday it'll quit over and they'll negotiate and have an armistice day, I suppose. But war, I don't see anybody to be proud of being a war or in those times because I know they're heroes and all that, but when you go there and people are killed and mutilated and everything, it's just not something I would be proud to talk about if it was me.
I think that's one of the things a lot of veterans don't talk a lot about, the things that was something we did a Ask a Bobcat about who do you know that are veterans, and Coach Wood, the one who's putting on our veterans program today, said that his father was, and he served in Vietnam, but he doesn't talk much about it. And we've had the same experience with the Vietnam vets we know. Of course, my husband's uncle, Coach Vivio, was in there, and Uncle Donnie as well. And they just don't talk about much about it because it's not something that that you want to spend much time remembering, because it's just, war's hard. So that's the thing. Any of our veterans, guys, that you have an opportunity to honor, do so. Buy them dinner. Of course, a lot of people will be buying them dinner tomorrow. But honor our veterans big on Veterans Day tomorrow. But we begin that today at
you got to realize these are heavy burden memories they bring back. Heavy burdens. Mm-hmm. And I noticed they have a tendency of talking about you count the days of the years since so-and-so happened.
Right.
And we need to focus on the good memories. People that we knew in the military and met, and not the ones that died. Just focus on the good things.
Right.
And the scriptures tell us about that, about where your thoughts should be.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you think on the good things.
Mm-hmm.
And there are bad things to recall, but you just can't do that. That's one thing people would watch video games and all like the gory stuff sometimes, but they hadn't been there.
Exactly. They haven't been there in reality. We're talking with Bill Jones doing a history review of Veterans Day and where it came from as we get ready to honor veterans tomorrow. That honoring begins really today in many areas. We're doing that today at Greenbrier. Mention again that we have a almost 102-year-old World War II veteran, Mr. Jimmy Wren, is going to be honoring us with his presence this morning. So we're looking forward to that. We've got just about 7 minutes. We're going to end right on time today because I got to hightail it to Greenbrier to get ready to record this program today. So, what else do you want to?
Well, the main thing about Veterans Day is memory that the wars allowed us to stand for truth. Mm-hmm. And the minute that we are not allowed to stand for truth, which this movie was about like that last night I watched, we're in trouble. Because our Veterans Day to recognize that we have truth, we stand for it, the freedoms to speak, and we recognize the price that our country paid for those that gave their lives for all of us. And really, that term "gave their lives," they didn't really give it; it got took from them. Right. But we have, bravery is not what a lot of people think. Bravery, somebody's a brave person. They're scared. Mm-hmm. It's not that they're not scared. They are, but they are using faith to go on in and do whatever they need to do, whether it's public speaking or radio announcing or whatever. Bravery is a different deal sometimes to somebody that has never experienced that. But it's something that's what our Pledge of Allegiance is all about. Mm-hmm. The bravery to be able to speak that and pray silently and worship our God, who helped us become the greatest nation in the world. Now, we've been a little over 200 years of that. I don't want to lose it. But, people arguing and fussing and fighting, and they're so mad at each other now, the parties and all that. We need to get out of that, and speak the truth and take it, learn to take it, too, without being upset with somebody or hate somebody. You need to get hate out of your system.
Civil discourse is something that we've been founded on, and we've got to get better at that. But we're about to hit 250 years, brother.
Right. Not
just over 200. We're about to hit that big 250.
So I'm thinking, I wrote down this article that comes out tomorrow in the paper. I wrote, bravery is showing mental strength to face danger or difficulty, even though you don't feel brave. We stand up for the truth. And so once you do that, you can do it again. And you need to push yourself out there. Well, if I don't like praying in public, if I don't like public speaking, just do a little bit at a time. And pretty soon that fear goes away, or goes away some, maybe not entirely. But it's like education. The more you know, the better you can handle things. Just like fear, the more you push yourself into doing things haven't done before and you're afraid of, bravery doesn't mean no fear. Yeah. So that's part of what Veterans Day is about.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine whose child just got through the crucible. He's now a Marine officially, so congratulations, Ty. So proud of you. But you talk about pushing through. I don't know. Do you have any idea what the crucible is and what it? I mean, when she was talking about that, because my kid was Army, and so they didn't. But I've heard that term before, and there's several Marines that are going to be there today, and I need to just ask them exactly what is I guess it's their final trial that they have when they're in.
Well, training, I would think that was what it'd be.
But he just came through.
I think of a pharmacist has a little thing that they crush up pills in. Mm-hmm. That's the final thing they do with them. And I think of that. You're in the crucible. You're in the testing stations. I know playing football in college helped me a lot in a way that if you got to a point and say you're good or bad or whatever, the coach would put you through some trials, not because he disliked you, but they were tests showing that you can do it. Mm-hmm. It's not a test that you fail; it's a test you win, and that's what's so good about it. And after that, they go away. He takes the trial away, and it's like that in life too. Yeah. We're presented with tests by God. He doesn't. He's not against us. It's to prove that we can stand for what he has told us the truth was. So we all have those things.
Yeah,
And
for
it's
sure.
just, you don't have to be in a war to do it, but you find out in a war. You don't have to play football to find out. But we have it every day, just about. And if you don't push against it and keep going, like in the military, you got somebody behind you yelling at you, you know. But
Get
when
moving.
it's you and yourself, you got to talk to yourself and say, "I can do this." You know, I can do. I might have to take one baby step at a time, but I can do this.
Mhm.
And pretty soon, you change your life. You're a different person.
Amen. Amen. I tell you,
So
that's any parting thoughts. We got to wrap this up because I got to get out of here just on time because I got to get to
just
school.
remember what Veterans Day, Memorial Day is all about. Neither, both of them are different, and
Yeah. And
what
this is
freedom we have.
Veterans Day.
Yeah,
And honor the veterans, honor them every day.
yeah.
If you see people out in these caps and stuff, stop and thank them for their service. And it used to be that, especially our, Vietnam veterans, they didn't feel like they could, let you know what they did.
Yeah.
And they do now. And they're probably
Well,
Korea
it was
vets
bad
too,
then.
because Korea, they kind of came on, they were just before Vietnam and they didn't get the disrespect maybe that Vietnam did, but they kind of stayed quiet about their service because it was during that, it was just kind of on the heels of that same era.
Sort of what
You
I was
know?
talking about. You know,
Yeah.
when we came home from Vietnam, people were mad at you.
Yeah.
You didn't have anything to do with that. You had just
Yeah.
did what you were told to do, and you can't
Let's
be
honor
like
our
that's hateful
veterans.
things you shouldn't do.
Mhm. Honor your
Honor
veterans.
honor people that put it out there
Yeah.
and brave. You know,
And
whatever
thank you
they
guys
do.
all for serving that have served. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, sir, for serving.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we be with Dr. Weeks tomorrow. We've got a school board meeting tonight. So he'll be in here tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about Veterans Day and all the things. And why Robertson County doesn't take the day off, well, as I told you, it's because while they're in school, we can remind the kids there's a reason that you're able to assemble here freely is because somebody paid the ultimate price for you and they're still paying it because a lot of them come home with a lot of injuries like Bill was talking about with the things that they've dealt with. So thank you guys. Thank you to all who have served. And join us tomorrow for an interview with Dr. Danny Weeks, our Director of Schools here in Robertson County. God bless. Have a wonderful day. This is 1100 WSGI.